Facebook if it's going live.
Okay.
It says live.
It's going live on your end, yeah? Okay, yeah.
So you
Brilliant.
got to text me
Yes.
whatever the access so I can post it.
Okay. Greetings, African family, wherever you are in the globe. My name is Oluboyega Tukumbo. Most know me as Siraj Odukunle, but they're all my names. And I'm here today with my host, ERA, and we are hosting another episode of Black Trauma Uncensored, and this is episode 6 with which is going to be a great episode today with our features, our guest features, the Barutis.
Yes.
Greetings.
Greetings, everybody. Everyone.
Okwaba Kabo. Yes, we are excited to have our esteemed honored Jegnas to share wisdom about their perspective of where we are today and the things that we can do to improve our situation. Some insight.
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
Excuse me one
Yes.
sec, Mama. So, Baba, can you copy the link and send it to us so we can post it?
Or is there a link to post?
Yeah, sure. I
I
think
didn't
it's
get a
on
notification.
my Facebook.
Oh, it just came through.
Oh, it just came through. Okay, brilliant.
It's the insight. Internet connection. Share.
So I'm on your page, and once I see it, then I could just share it. But I need how you gonna share?
Well, I can share it from your page once you get on there because even though we're here, I can still go into Facebook.
Okay.
They can't see me in Facebook. No one can see me in Facebook, but I can do it in there while
Okay.
we're talking.
We would like people who are trying to get in to
see.
be able to tune in.
Pass some
All right, Mama, you see it?
on your page? No. What's she
Not
saying?
yet.
You send it to her on her phone or in Messenger?
No.
On the phone. Okay.
On their Facebook page.
Let me get out the conversation.
Yeah, I'm
Facebook.
on the Facebook page, but I don't see how to refresh this.
There we go. You can't get it. I just sent it to you again. You can check your text
Also
message.
join the chat. They can also join the chat. So anyone who's tuning in can join the chat if they do have any questions.
Here it is. So
You share it with me? No?
So let them know about. Can you see Facebook, Siraj?
Yes, it's live.
But also
Okay, good.
Messenger. Can I?
You just send
No.
it to me?
No. Hold on. I sent it to you in Messenger.
Okay, so let me see.
Can I share? Where's Facebook?
Leave me alone, machine. What is this thing doing? Allow. I don't care. I say don't. Is this right here, right?
Yes.
Okay, it does say YouTube. Okay, so copy. And then leave you alone and reply to him. Paste. Enter. Good. He's good to go. And let me put it on the page so that he's not the only one that gets it.
So, Mama, you're saying it's on your page? I just can't see it on my phone being on your page.
Okay, so it's in your text message.
Yeah.
I'm getting ready
I
to
have
send
it
it
in
to
the
you.
text, but I'm trying to. I'm on my
I copy it.
phone where I'm not accustomed to doing things. Trying to.
It's also on the page. So I did tag you. I'm going to do it like this for you too. Here.
Okay.
All right.
It's on
Now,
my
so you
page,
should have it in your inbox.
I have
You
it on
should
my
also.
page.
It should be on the
It's on my
page.
page. It's on my
Okay.
page. It's on my page.
I put your name.
And so, can you go to your page and send it to me?
I can do this. I can. Where are you at? You are a wife, married to Yaparuti. And we'll go to where's your post.
Oh, you can't post on my page.
I can't comment.
Oh, comment. Okay.
This is the link. Stop. And then we go paste. And now the link is there on your page. Give me half a second. Let me go to Bob and while I'm nope, never mind. That's all right. No, it's on here. Right. There we go. And here we go. Comment. This is the link. Colon. Boom, boom. And my work is done. Let's go back to this guy.
Okay, so you commented on my page. Okay.
Yeah. So we're good. And now we're back. Everybody who wants it can access it.
We think we've spread the word.
Yeah. That was easy.
That's
easy work.
Teamwork make the dream work.
Yes.
And this is complementarity.
Yes, absolutely. That's how it works. That's how it works. It's not as complicated as people think. That's how it works.
Yeah. Absolutely.
The only time it doesn't work is when there is a misunderstanding. Then it gets a little convoluted.
Yeah.
Which comes with complementarity.
Yes.
Conflict. Right. And so speaking to which, we are in a society that is anti-African, right? And so we're living within this culture that doesn't necessarily promote our developmental aspect of complementarity. Absolutely. Right? Well, you talk about mate selection. When we go through our rights, and we have the male and female separated, but that is a brother and a sisterhood of bonds, right, that are created for people who have had the experience of going through the same rights that you have. So there's a connection there. Yes. Right? And a part of that is development. In how we engage each other, how we see each other, how we treat each other, right, as Black man, Black woman. And for me, I think it should start when we start walking. From the time you start breathing, before incubation, right? Because whatever it is that we experience, our children that we birth experience, right?
Right.
Through the energy that we pass on through them. That's our DNA. It's in our DNA. So what would you say to the development that needs to be implemented now that maybe once was, right? And whatever was in place before, as far as our development is concerned, when it comes to complementarity, does it still fit today? What you would say we should implement? Do you think what we used to do, we can still do, or does it need to be evolved because times are different?
What we used to do, we can do, but we can't do it if we are relying on this reality to provide us with our reality. We can't do it. It's like we can't do it within this unless we create our own sacred safe spaces to do it in, because it's going to be corrupted within this reality. There's going to be a lot of disbelief from, you're trying to teach the children this, and they're like, well, that's not what's going on in the world. What are you talking about? That's not how it works. So you have to operate within the context of separation. You have to operate within the context of building community at the same time you're trying to build complementary relationships, because they can't exist without each other and remain sane. So it's yes, we can anything. And I'm not saying anything, that you don't know, and you weren't questioning that. Anything that we have done or that we want to do that we haven't done before, we can do. Or we're lying when we say that we're thinking that we're genius, all the rest of that. We can't say one thing and not say another. We can't call our children genius and then say, we can't build a safe, sacred space for them. Everybody else does for their children. So why is it that we can't? And part of the problem with that is that we have not developed models of sustainable community that allow them to become who they are, what they are over generations. It gets stopped. We're if you will, we're so far behind.
Mm.
We are so disadvantaged because of the mental side and because of the difficulty of the fight, where we haven't developed the backbone to stand the assault. So we'll get into doing it even when we understand that, okay, we got to build a community that where we can do the rights in, where that won't be corrupted, where we can have children in, where that won't be corrupted, where we can find complements, where that can't be corrupted. We have to understand that now you have to change reality.
Yeah.
You have to change the largest thing in the world. You're against, you are waging war against thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of people in multiple nations. You're doing that at the same time that you're trying to create a safe, sacred space for your family and the community. That's, to a lot of people, that's impossible. To warriors, it's not. But for the majority of it, that's an impossible task. That's why we quit. That's why we quit. So yes, it is. It's very possible. It's humanly possible. Whether it's been done before or not, and it has been done before. For thousands and thousands of years before, and even after Europeans came out of the caves, until our culture was corrupted. But for me, it's like, that's okay. That's a challenge. It's a good challenge.
And from a more, so that's definitely the theory and the bigger process. But on the smaller level, then that means, because it's going to take time for us to have this sovereign, separate space. And in the interim, we have to teach our children. So even something as basic as what we were taught in our traditional villages, that marriage and children are obligations, not options.
Yes.
So, you know, foundational skills. And as you said, from the earliest ages, we need to be teaching them. And something I'm proud of that we've done at Ankaben, where students, teenagers reading Complementarity. We're giving them assignments on complementarity, and that's being discussed. So we need that in whatever villages, because definitely we need our villages. Just like it takes a village to raise a child, we need a village to sustain marriages, to develop strong African men and women, all these things. But in our village, our children need models. And that's part of the problem. We're in a society where the adults are so confused and this battle, overwhelmed, and so menticidal, in that we're embracing European cultural norms. So then you have Black women wanting, embracing feminism, which is a hatred of men. And then now we have this manosphere that many of our men in, we have a hatred. Men are literally hating Black women, choosing others. They're not hating all women, but they have a hatred for us. And, you know, it all goes back to our trauma, oppression, enslavement, all of that. But we have to sort through all of that. But in the midst, you know, the re-Africanization that we do in all the other areas in our homes and with our children, that topic of complementarity has to be strong as we seek to heal ourselves, because traumatized, and this is a short podcast, traumatized adults pass that on to their children. So some of us don't want to get married based upon what we've seen our parents go through and, you know, all around us. So we will be working on it from every angle to turn this thing around.
And like she just said, just a very good example here in Atlanta, where she was talking about examples. And you need intergenerational examples. But there was a sister here in Atlanta who was doing, I believe it was her master's thesis. She was looking at I don't know if it was a county or what have you here in the Atlanta metro area, because it was a Black area, but the marriage, the birth rates were going down. So she was wondering what was going on. And as she's doing this survey, she discovered something interesting, that the children, all of them wanted to have children. And she was elated that all of them want to have children when they were financially in a position to do so. The problem was, and what she's discovered was, none of them wanted to get married. So she went back and redid the survey to find out with these same people, with black males and black females, middle school and high school. What she found was that none of them knew anyone in their community who had been or was married. So there wasn't any reason to think about it. That's not. Why would I think about that as an option when it's not around me? If you don't have those models,
that's not your reality.
Right? Absolutely, absolutely.
And at this point, if that same survey was done, probably fewer of them would want children, and probably still, maybe not the merit, but even the desire. And we, as a people, have held on to the desire for children more so than marriage. But I think, and of course, that's declining as well as we follow the madness of this society, where there's more focus on it's about you and children, cramp your style.
There's a process of thinking that leads you to have negative population growth, which Europeans have had for a while. There was a mentality that led you to have zero population growth, and now they're in negative population growth. So there's a way of thinking. There's a cultural way of thinking. There's something in a ceiling that connects, their thinking process to that degree of selfishness. Okay, and then when you do have children, then you promote it just to have enough children so you have a population so you don't, as Francis Wilson would say, you don't disappear. So it's not like I love people, I love children, even though they're pretending it to no end. It's because you're scared to die, off, out, whatever.
So now there are incentives for babies being born. The investment accounts, whatever. But of course, they are intended for Europeans because they don't. People of color and that's a whole different thing. We're still being encouraged to abort. And we are at the rate of hundreds of thousands a year. But, this is a topsy-turvy world that we live in. So all of just when we grew up, really everybody wanted to get married and have children. It was a given.
Yes, absolutely.
And we've definitely, in our lifetimes seen that change dramatically.
Yes, it was a quick change.
You just took it for granted. You didn't have to,
like 2 generations.
Who will I marry? Or, do I want to go to college first for those who went to college? But it was a given, marriage was the goal, marriage and children.
Part of the equation.
And it was a part, I would think, of the value system, the family value system.
Yes.
Because we, as a communal people, of course, we know that it's what we would consider a community has been interfered with, right? And so for so long, intergenerationally, that we do think individualistically, and that's kind of a difficult environment to be in and actually visualize demonstrated values that you can aspire to uphold yourself as a child, right? And then you become an adult struggling, right, through this ma'afa. and not really, and a lot of us get caught up in escapism, right? Whatever that vice may be. And so we lose our way in terms of actually demonstrating the values that sustain our families. But like you said, if you somewhere where you rarely even see a black man and black woman together, then the thought may not even cross your mind. But in my generation, I've had where women would say, I just want the baby. I got my degree, I make good money, I don't need a man, I don't want to deal with that headache. Right. But of course, that's coming from a Euro perspective.
Yes.
Right, because they're having a Euro experience.
Yes.
I think I'm going to add to that. So I also feel that the psychological warfare plays a huge part of that, especially with the conditioning with what's going on today with media. and them utilizing the algorithms on Facebook to attract, people to watch a lot of dysfunctional interactions between the young brothers and sisters of today. And I feel, a lot of the times there's a number of brothers and sisters among us who are fearful of breaking that cycle, especially when they've seen a lot of brokenness within their extended families or their immediate families and so forth. So I think one and this is probably what led me to do the virtual event when I did the virtual event with our elders here a few years ago. How can our brothers and sisters protect each other? I wanted to kind of change that paradigm, where we can put that word out, for brothers and sisters to see an example of just holding each other accountable and what we can do, to just move forward from this mentor side.
And I say that's critical in terms of socialization, where the younger folks don't recognize that as sanity. Stable families, marriage already, they don't recognize that as sanity at all. You have shoot, did I lose my thought? Let's say you have a situation where this culture, because of its nature, turns young folks against old folks. So the treatment of elders back when I was, 14, 15, 13 is very different than it is today. We might not have wanted to listen, but there was respect.
That's right.
Today, and I'm talking to folks who run boys, rights and programs for young folks. And one of the guys, he said to me, he said, no, Bobby, you don't understand. They don't not want to listen to elders. They hate elders. Because the elders are going to try to teach them to move in a way that's different. And this is a big discussion, because this culture has taught the children that they know everything already. So the idea of wisdom is out the window. So I watched three YouTube videos on this. What are you trying to tell me? I already know what it's all about. So when you have that mentality, when you separate it to children, I said there's so many components. When you separate the children from the adults through spoilage, where the adults no longer are able to provide any guidance, and the adults have relinquished that, then the media teaches them, like you were just saying, Siraj, the media teaches them who to hate, who to love. Okay, they're just not out there on their own. The media is directional. It's very specific in terms, especially when it comes to our community, through the music, through the videos, through the conversations, through what's allowed to, be on YouTube and Facebook, whatever they're listening to, and circulates. So you have a whole culture at work. We say anti-African culture. We're talking about turning us into them. When you look back in their history, you see a hatred of elders. Okay, when you look back at their story, you see a hatred of women. You see all these hatreds in their culture, and it's not something that we're used to. So we've been dragged into this unaware, untrained for this, and we always take everything to the extreme because we're genius. So what they do, we take it to the whole next level, not understanding that we're being them. We have become them.
Right.
Very scary.
Yeah.
Indeed. And so I wanted to touch on vision, right? Because you have to have vision. Living life, you have to have vision. And when we are considering our balance in our male-female relationship, I think it's very important for people to already kind of have an idea and be anchored in where they want to go. So when you unite, you all can tell, okay, are we aligned value-wise? Do I have the capacity to support the vision and the direction that you want to go in life? Am I capable? Am I willing, right, to support? Because a lot of times what I see is you look nice, I look nice, we like the same kind of music, I like how you dress, we gonna make a baby tonight. Okay, well, wait, what? Hold on now. I don't know what kind of family you come from. I don't know what ailments might run that I got to be prepared. I got to know my herbs or whatever it is. If I see in you what balances me and vice versa, there's things that we have to prepare for. You can't just jump out the window and say this is what we're doing, right? So how important is having, we talked about the development, right, of our children, the values that we have to have implemented, even to be able to recognize those values in other people when you see them, right, to even know that that's somebody you want to approach. But then you have the vision. How is it important as knowing what the values are that you stand on, the principles, and being totally connected? Or because some people become dogmatic, right? And is we doing it this way, and because that's how it's been done traditionally, and we can't see no other way, it's tunnel vision. Right, there's no critical thinking going on. But then you have people who are raised in different environments, and may have different experiences, but the bottom line of the baseline values are, in alignment. So do we have to totally agree on all things, or because I know you all
That'll
have
never happen.
it never happened, right?
No.
But y'all have a what is the knowing who our enemy is? I lead with that. Because if you don't think that we don't got the same enemies,
Right,
we already got
it's a wrap for sure.
Don't go past go.
Yes, I think the bigger vision is absolutely important, and I think even using us as an example. So when we met each other, we were pro-Black. At that point, we didn't know that we were African, and we didn't know about the African way. All of that has occurred on this journey, but we were on that same page generally. And even though I was a Christian, that was a very huge problem for him. And so it wasn't this smooth sailing whatsoever. However, that at that point, we knew we loved African people, and we knew that whites were our enemies. So that clarity, and then of course we're 41 years in now, decades of together finding the African way and being on this path. But we did have that general clarity of love African people and who the enemy is. And because we shared that, we were able to together find the African way. We, as we got clearer, no, we're not just Black. No, we're African, and we need to return, all of that. So yes, having it now, and of course, you're going to have to go beyond that as well, compatibility and all of that. But just from Jump Street, there needs to be a general shared vision. For sure.
And family, as we're talking, I am posting the link to the books. Whenever I hear, like I just heard clarity is going to be in the chat. Complementarity obviously is also there. So Brother Siraj, what you got?
What, question wise? Or I was actually this is in regards to just us wanting to delve into how trauma affects our people, when it comes to intergenerational trauma. How can we as a people avoid those pitfalls when it comes to just our connection, or for those who wish to come together as complementarity, or those who are already in complementarity relationships?
Before you answer that, sweetie, Ray, would you are you able to share the Complementarity Conference flyer and registration means? Are you able to do that?
We can make that the thumbnail,
Okay.
Okay.
so it'll always be up whenever people see.
Okay. Give thanks, Mama.
Well, I want to first say in terms of how do we deal with this trauma as a people. One of the things that I have really had to claim, I really had to put my foot down for me. After all these years of dealing with warriors and treason, people who intentionally came into the space to create destruction, discord, that when I talk about the possibilities, I talk about those people who want to be African. I talk about those people who, not just conscious folks, but people who want to move into the center, because even within the conscious community isn't based on the quality of your character. It's based upon how you look, or what book you read, or what event you're going to. Or it's got nothing to do with character. And that was the heart and soul of our people. So if we're trying to reestablish, remake, recreate a reality that is healing, okay, then we have to be very selective with who we're dealing with. And folks don't like to talk about that, but you have to be very selective. What do you always see the ad online? If a revolutionary woman marries a Negro, then he's just going to knock her off her track. So we have to realize there's a lot of truth to that, because I've seen that over and over again. So when we're talking about this, we have to talk about what we can do to heal within the safe, sacred spaces that we have created, and with people who want to be African. Character, in terms of fundamentally character. When you get to that point, it may sound a little off, but it gets easy. It gets easy. Of course, it's a lot of individual work. It's a lot of collective work. Like Foucault talked about that in the self-healing power and therapy, where as a psychiatrist, if there was something wrong with someone, you went to talk to everybody in the village. How did you all allow this to happen? What about you all, enable this to be? What is sustaining this? And then when you have a community, a closed community of people who see themselves as African, and they're trying to heal because they know what has made them ill is Eurocentric culture, then it becomes a lot easier. That's not going to say, that's not, when I say easier, I'm not saying, oh, well, we have a conversation and that's it, problem solved. No, it's going to be easier in terms of the focus, because you're going to have less distractions. You can really focus on the issue, on the problem, whatever it is, because you don't have all the nonsense in that circle, all of the stupid questions that are introduced into the conversation that are completely, totally irrelevant to where you're trying to go. And that, of course, we know one of the major tactics of them is distraction for us. If they can keep us distracted, then we can't solve jack. We can't, we can't heal. On the last point I'll say on that, and that's not to say that the question is small, because the question is huge. When you think about this, when you affirm things, when you look at that umbrella in terms of like what keeps a complementary pair together, the question for me, or the statement for me to warriors is, you will be healed when you return ma'at to African people, those who are centered. When you do that, you'll be healed, because then all the other stuff is small. It's very small. When you can give that to that community, when you can provide that for that community to the best of your ability, then you're well on the way of healing all on your own. Because all of that all the things that happened, all the stuff that's going on, all the dumbness that we see happening in our community around the world, it becomes small. It's just like when, to use Russell's example again, when we're in a disagreement, I'm not worried about her going anywhere. She's not worried about me going anywhere, because solving African people's problem, bringing sovereignty to African people, is so much larger than that. And we're going to return to that immediately. It's just, we need to deal with this little issue right now, that healing part. We need to deal with this little issue right now. But that umbrella mission of getting African people sovereign, that's the largest thing. And that's where the focus we know that, even though it may be subconscious back in the mind, we know that that's what's going to happen. So no matter how frustrated we may get, we're not frustrated.
Right.
Okay,
And
I
you're
would
not
like
measuring each other according to somebody else's standards.
Absolutely, absolutely.
It's according to the African standard, what our center is, right? Yeah.
let me
Um,
add
mhm.
again, I think that's the bigger picture. And then on a smaller level, at the individual level, the trauma that if we're in this land of oppression, so we're all, and I don't want to embrace the word victim, but we all have experienced trauma to whatever degree. So part of, and you say, how do we develop our children, preparing them for complementarity? So similarly, throughout our lives, the healing process is going to be important, because when we're traumatized individuals, and even when we get married, but if most people, you're bringing whatever trauma, but many of us, I'm going to say previously in our story in this country, there was no healing focused on, or you weren't even consciously aware you've been traumatized and it's something that needs to be healed. But I'm
Right.
thankful that at this point in our story, it's being promoted, the importance of healing. And, however you find that, and it's not going to be limited to one way, spiritually, therapy, with professionals. But a major step is recognizing that we all have, and that's not past tense only, that living in a state of oppression, we're daily being traumatized. So
Right.
we must work to be in the process of healing. And in fact, when we do that, we will be better equipped to find a complement who also needs to be on his or her journey to
Come
healing
on.
as well. And we recognize, okay, marriage is not going to heal us. It comes, those traumas come with us. So as a couple, and then as we have children, we know we have to continue to work on our healing. And if what may happen, and we know in a large percentage of our marriages, they end in divorce, that willingness to heal, we still need that, whether we stay together. So hopefully, prayerfully, we'll stay together for, as long as we live. That will be ongoing healing, but also for if couples, when they separate, and a refusal to, in situations where the anger overrules a desire for healing, there can't be healing. And then that's just further trauma. So then the divorce, and
Yes.
yes, it will be traumatic if you married and you really cared, and your hope and desire was we would be together forever. So yes, that's going to be very painful. But for two individuals who are committed to healing, lifelong healing, they should be able to, they're not going to be able to skip the pain. They will feel pain like everyone else, but they will be able to, if there are children involved, work together to co-parent those children. And in many cases, and I love it when I hear of these stories of people who divorced, but they're great co-parents and they become friends. That's not necessary, but hey, that's wonderful when that is the case, because it does make it easier on children. So that individual family healing, definitely, it can't be overemphasized.
And
So,
I also want to say real quick, we've been severely damaged.
Mhm.
All of us in a particular way, some to maybe a greater degree, but all of us have been severely damaged. The folks have to realize when they're doing the work, this is the healing part. When you doing your work on your character, when you doing your work in the community to save those boys, to save those girls, what have you, that's healing. That's the healing. They keep talking to us like this is something that you do in an office someplace, and in these little groups that may help. That may help. That will help. But for you, the real healing for me has come through actively engaging myself in terms of trying to improve the quality of my character, as well as to assist with the lives of other brothers and sisters in the community. I warn brothers and sisters who do this work for other people, though, that you have to understand this is the Eurocentric culture. I remember back when the black student unions and the black student organizations on campus, on the white campuses, when they formed, it was because white folks were attacking them, throwing bottles, calling them names, spitting on them, all the rest of this on campus. But as soon as white folks stopped doing that and started smiling back at them, the black student organizations disbanded all over the country. They disbanded left and right because their goal wasn't African sovereignty. Their goal wasn't building safe, sacred space for African people. Their goal was to get along with Europeans. So we had to be very careful in terms of the intent. The outcome, the goal of these individuals who we are trying to assist, to heal. Because then you assisting people who are going to be working against you. We need to be very selective. I'm looking for people who want to nation build. If I'm going to be healing somebody, specifically want to nation build.
Right. I agree, because I hear a lot of people say, well, this person not doing this and that person not. Well, I'm sure there's people out there, people who are doing the things that you do like. who are in more alignment with you, more compatible with you, but you're focused on a whole different area that don't have nothing to do with you and don't have nothing to do with what you stand for or where you going. But if you don't have a vision for yourself, then you don't know what you stand for, where you going. So anything will do, and because you're accepting anything that will do, that's why you have an experience you have, right? You mentioned two things were mentioned: the healing event. So I do want to know if that is ever coming back in the future. I believe, Siraj, you might be talking. Were you there virtually, or was it the healing event that you brought up earlier? Because I know I was there at one physically.
So okay, Mama, are you talking about the healing event we had,
the healing event,
or are you talking about Baba's healing event?
I'm talking about your healing event, Mama. But Siraj was saying something about the healing event. Was that the one? Was it virtual or in person?
That one was not virtual. So it was something Baba did that was online.
Yeah, that was the event. How can our brothers and sisters protect each other? Which there was a part 1 and part 2. But I'm glad you brought that up, ERA, because I do recall. I think this was the healing event which Mama Yard did. Was it last year? Because I remember I just left the US. I don't know if it's
2024.
Yeah, because I remember I hosted. Me and Baba hosted in Georgia. I think it was California. I think that healing event was after I left.
Okay.
If I'm not
it was because I went to.
I think he was present. Yeah, he was present.
So that's two different events. So the first question is the one, Siraj, that you're talking about, brothers and sisters healing each other. Is that something that's going to recur? Or
well, that's a good question, because obviously I wasn't going to do the second one until Baba convinced me that the second one was crucial. I think it really depends, because nowadays the whole lecture, when it comes to lectures, I feel that it's important to put, when the lecture ends, it's about as Mama Yar mentioned earlier, it's about homework. What's the actions which we take away? Obviously, since I did my last presentation, I always try to update it. And I think what's imperative about that is the action items. What comes afterwards? Because we can't just give a lecture and, everybody's back to the modern day plantation the next day. It's about what actions can be implemented and introduced, so we're actually just to monitor whether or not we're making progress. Yeah, so I think for myself, I'm more trying to work on doing more sessions nowadays.
Mhm.
So yeah, I'm working on it. I'm working on it.
I like
Mhm.
what the one that I went to in Atlanta, that mama, it was at the House of Ogun.
Mhm.
Mm,
That's a great follow up because you're
Mhm.
actually learning and exercising skills
mm,
to heal. Right. So
Mhm.
you go to a lecture, you can listen to somebody talk and you can have a conversation. But when you're sitting in a room full of Africans and you are actually walking through a healing process and you feel protected, sitting in that circle with men surrounding you, they don't got to know your name, but they're here
Mhm.
to support you and all of the pain that you are experiencing, and having somebody really make you feel safe in that space to be able to realize your feelings, your emotions, and how impactful they are if you 32, 42, 52.
Mhm.
Mhm.
It's a lot of the times there are experiences that we had when we were 22
Right.
and 12, right?
Mhm.
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 So I think that the one that I went to in Georgia, was in Atlanta. That's a
Mhm.
great follow-up. If you ever decide, y'all
Yes,
want to
especially we
collaborate.
had one
Mhm.
scheduled, and I had health challenges when we ended up, but
Oh, January.
I was still we're trying to do it
Yes,
despite
I do. Yeah.
health challenges, but then there was a challenge with the venue. So it was like, oh, it's a
Mhm.
sign, and we're gonna have to, put it on hold. But that was beautiful, Mama. And
Right.
let's
Yes.
not leave off. And yes, we had the Babas encircling us, but then
Mhm.
remember, then we flipped it,
Oh, we
and
did.
then we Mamas encircled the Babas, so we had their backs as well. And which
That's right.
absolutely is needed for sure. It was just, there were more sisters than the brothers, but it was
Good.
healing for, it wasn't,
Mhm.
this is a healing event for
Mhm.
women. Just wanted to make that
That's
note.
right. Clarification.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Gratitude, Mama Madasi.
And quick note, Mama, do you know Mama Kajara has her new book is Shadow Work?
I did not see the new book. And I
Mm-hmm.
thought I had all
Yeah.
of her books. I'm going to go
Brand new.
on, and I'm going to post that now since you brought it up. I sure
Yes.
am.
Brand new.
In fact, and Baba bought it for me. I had seen it online, but I hadn't stopped to. I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to get that. But Baba got it for me as a gift. But so
The
it's like
the
a 30
Raseki
day
store.
healing challenge.
Okay, yeah,
It's called Shadow Work.
shadow work.
Hmm. Because in a
Listen,
lot of our healing, is really going to be, so when we have those avenues that we can do group healing, we absolutely want to do that. But a big part of it too is that individual, like that book is allowing you to go on this 30-day, okay, where each day there's a question, because the subtitle is something about ways of healing your heart. So, but you have to recognize, because oftentimes, people walking around in pain and they honestly couldn't tell you what's the root of their pain. So, it
Mhm.
wasn't necessarily something that would generally be seen as traumatic. So, we know if, for somebody, if both their parents were killed in an accident, something we would say, oh, I feel so sorry for them. That was traumatic. But people experience trauma in many ways that, they or others wouldn't necessarily recognize, oh, this person is being traumatized in some way.
When we talk about complementarity, and when it comes to being that support for when a person themselves are unaware of how they're impacted by that intergenerational trauma, and having someone that compliments you and is able to support you
Mhm.
through the healing process, and sometimes recognize before you recognize that
Mm-hmm.
some healing is necessary. So
Mm-hmm.
when you all do the complementarity event annually, um, it's really an experience because we have an opportunity to hear from not just the mamas and babas who are actively engaged in complementarity, but those who have experienced it and decided that right now I need some time to myself because I need some
Mm-hmm.
healing,
Yes.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So we have complementarity is coming up on Saturday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Not this
Not today.
Saturday, not the day after tomorrow, Saturday, June 6th.
6th, June
Yeah.
6th.
And Mama, for those people who say, well, I don't want to be dealing with that right now. I have my own healing to do or what have you. For me, the only thing that's important is that they don't discard the idea of complementarity.
Right, revisit it.
You have a lot of people who have reached a point where they don't, and that's usually my first question. Are you still interested? You still, well, I don't want looking for a wife. I'm not looking for a girlfriend. I don't feel like doing this right now. I'm working on that. I said, well, as long as you haven't relinquish that dream, that goal. If that's, as long as that's still a priority, yeah, it's still a priority in my life. Okay, as long as that's the case, then we're good. If you move past that, then the extent of our conversation is going to be limited.
And as always, but which is great,
not to push them away, but
we'll see different angles. So yes, there are times if you are seriously in the thick of it and you need to heal, then it makes sense. If you're not in a place that you can fairly enter into this relationship because you have the bandwidth. However, that can be like people waiting for the right time for things to work out perfectly. We have one child, not because that was the plan, but the circumstances weren't correct. When he was ready, I wasn't ready because the marriage was shaky. But when you wait, and I ended up, we have only the one child, but I'm waiting for this miraculous time that I'll have more children, and that didn't happen. So we have to be mindful about that as well. It's not going to be a perfect time. And remember, so it's not like, we're definitely not saying, because you cannot do heal first, then find a complement. All of that is an ongoing process. And I saw a meme years ago on Facebook. I'm paraphrasing. Marriage is about two people having the patience to allow each other to heal, because you're going to need to heal. And as you, Juan or Bertha, you just said, your compliment often helps. Baba pointed out to me issues that I didn't, well, I recognized I had an issue with worrying, but I didn't recognize. I'm like, oh no, you got the issues because your issues impact the whole family. But when I worry, it's not impacting anybody else. And he had to, I grew up in a family where everybody worried. So nobody pointed out to me worrying is a problem. I saw it, and I didn't even like it as a teenager. But I hadn't figured out, even though I vowed, when I grow up, I'm not going to worry like my mom. But that was easier said than done. But your compliment absolutely can assist you in healing. So, but definitely want to tell people, don't, I need, whatever amount of time to heal. If you're committed to it, and because it's going to be a lifelong process, that your spouse, the right person, will be someone to assist you in your healing. But definitely, and part of complementary is having children too. So for couples out there, do know it's not going to be that perfect time to have the children either. So, we have to recognize the challenges go on forever, and we have to make a decision first to heal from hopefully our youngest ages, and then that's just an ongoing process. But definitely it's helpful having someone who's supporting you, in your healing. And not that you have to have a compliment, because we have our sisters, mamas, babas, are in the village.
The more help you get, the better.
But yes, the more the better. And your compliment is someone, in most cases, people now want to live in different states even, but in most cases, they're in the home with you. And in fact, so they see things that your friends, even who know you and love you, don't know what compliments share with each other, because we have a lot of pain we're not sharing beyond our compliments. So sisters and brothers don't even know, our parents didn't know, but so just wanted to make that point.
Indeed. So we want to reiterate, Complementarity Conference is annual. It is going to be Saturday, June the 6th.
4 to
Is that 4
7
p.m.?
And
That's
it is
Eastern time.
online. That's Eastern time.
And so we're going to post the flyers, yes. But there's it's going to be front and back, so people will know how to register and everything. The donations where they go as well. So we'll post all of that. Siraj, did you have anything to close?
I wish I could be there. I'm hosting on that day. I'm hosting on that day. Yeah, I'll be hosting another event in Cincinnati.
Yeah,
so I'll be in Cincinnati.
Everybody can't be everywhere, and we do our thing wherever we're at. All of it's good. All of it's good.
Yes.
Yeah. So before I come back out here in September to host the remaining 3 events, which I will have in Arkansas, North Carolina, and Georgia. So it'd be great to see both of you again.
Yes,
Baba and Mama,
absolutely.
when I come on the 4th of October, or when I'm hosting on the 4th of October. So yeah. So we've appreciated both of you sharing today. It's just been very insightful, very inspiring as well. I've been in my thoughts and processing, and I'm just grateful for those who have tuned in. I know we've had a couple of comments. We've had a comment from Dr. Heru. I don't think we've even acknowledged Baba Iya.
Dr. Heru, I did
you did?
on YouTube
Okay.
though.
Yeah. So we appreciate all of those who have joined the chat. And please, brothers and sisters on the call, if you're not doing anything next week, Saturday, to attend the Complementarity online conference. You definitely get a lot from that conference.
I'm looking forward to them being there.
And Mama, please share the recording when it's available, so we can. You did.
Absolutely.
I mean, what's Discord? Yeah, so we'll be able to share that to people who couldn't make it.
All right, I'm posting the information that was requested in the chat. Mama Kajara is the author of Shadow Work, and I've also posted the link, but I'll repost it. All right.
And those who don't know, she has written a number of good books relative to, even though she doesn't put them under the category of healing, I don't think they're healing books.
Oh no, I think she would.
I said in terms of the title, the subtitle, what have you in the book, but they are.
And yeah, she's one of our Atlanta healers. Sure.
Okay. All right, Brother Siraj, you gonna close us out?
Yeah. Well, once again, it's an honor to have Mama Yah, Baba Baruti on the call. And until next time, a BB Fodie.
A BB Fodie.
Tumi, race first, Uhuru Sasa.
BB Tuma.
BB Tumi.